Descendants, Augiesaint here and welcome to the channel. Hope you guys are having a fantastic day and we're going to talk about the Albion Cavalry. This thing actually really surprised me recently. I wasn't much of a fan of it in the past, but recently with the weapon core system as well as like the updates to weapons and stuff, the Albion Cavalry is actually pretty strong, especially for mobbing. We have tried it against bosses. It was able to one-phase the turtle pretty easily using our Hailey gun build. But we took it up against Tony and it just didn't quite have the oomph of like the Enduring Legacy to go ahead and one-phase him. However, it did get him pretty low and we also did not use any Colossus rolls on it. So I think if you went ahead and actually converted the stuff all to Colossus rolls, because you can get 2 Colossus rolls with the weapon core system, that means you can get up to close to 600% increase on your actual Colossus roll on the weapon. You could potentially have a pretty decent bossing weapon. However, I don't think it's going to be better than the Enduring Legacy just because of how strong the Enduring Legacy is, as well as its unique buff, giving you so much extra damage while bursting like a single target. But for mobbing, it is an absolute beast because it does actually provide you a decent amount of CC. And I know right now there's not really any content that requires you to hard CC, but maybe in the later Void Erosions, like on our way up to Void Erosion 30 and past, maybe then the mods will actually start doing like crazy damage. So you might have to actually want to CC them, like crowd control them, stun them, so they don't go ahead and blow you up instantly. In that case, the Albion Cavalry is going to be your best friend. However, it is extremely good for mobbing as is, just because of its crazy ricocheting. And then you use that on top of the Hailey gun build we've been using recently and showcasing a lot of our videos. There's ice explosion everywhere. There's enemies being stunned everywhere. It's giving you crit. It's giving you movement speed. It's just a really fun weapon to use, and I can't wait to share with you guys my build in the video. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. We'll first have a look at the unique effect for the cavalry. Now we have maxed ours out, so these numbers may be a little bit different for you. But let's have a look here. On hit, inflicts mark on the enemy. On hitting the enemy inflicted with mark, increases your critical hit rate and applies this buff to the attack. Each critical hit ricochets to the nearby enemy with the highest remaining HP ratio, stunning the enemy hit by the ricochet. Continued fire grants the horseshoe effect. So basically you hit enemy, you apply mark is down below you, and then also applies mark to your next shot, increasing your critical hit rate, and then it's going to ricochet to the highest enemy with like the highest HP left over. And also while you are continuing firing, you're going to get the horseshoe effect. So the marked enemy boosts your crit hit rate, can ricochet up to 3 targets, and also does an additional damage of your firearm damage times 32%. So a nice little boost of damage there as like extra side damage. Stun for 4 seconds, so quite a long stun. And we have a look at the horseshoe effect. This stacks up to 10 times. This is pretty much every 0.1 seconds while you are continuing firing. It's going to stack up. So basically like mental focus, when you stop firing, I think this is actually going to drop faster than mental focus, because mental focus you can keep up pretty good. It's like a 2-second timer where you can actually go ahead and shoot again. So 10 stacks, and it's just going to increase your movement speed while pretty much doing everything. Movement speed when not aiming, per stack while firing, while aiming, and also movement speed per stack while aiming. So it's going to boost all of your movement speed while aiming and shooting continuously. And this synergizes really well with Hailey's Cold Fury, which we'll be using to get pretty much 100% crit rate. And when we crit, that's going to ricochet, so it's really good. And as we all know, the Cold Fury actually reduces Hailey's movement speed per stack. So by continuously firing on the Albion Cavalry, it's actually going to speed us back up again. So we'll be reducing the negative side effect of Cold Fury. And I'll just be focusing on getting that massive crit chance from the Cold Fury on Hailey. So that's really good, and that's why I do like it so much. It's pretty fun. Now let's actually have a look at the rolls on the weapon itself, and then the cores. For the rolls on the bottom, we went for chill attack, firearm crit hit damage, and firearm crit hit rate. Now you could potentially drop the crit hit rate for maybe weak point damage or something else. We haven't like extensively tested that because we just don't have the materials right now. But I think crit hit rate is pretty decent, although we might actually be overcapping on crit because of Hailey as well as the effect of the weapon. So definitely, if you wanted to drop a roll, the crit hit rate would probably be the least important. However, chill attack, firearm attack, and crit damage are pretty important for the rolls. And then coming up to the weapon core system, we are running firearm attack and fire rate because, you know, fire rate is just really OP in this game. And then firearm attack is also just boosting everything pretty strong as well. You could potentially go for double fire rate if you want, or even double firearm attack. It's totally up to you, as those 2 slots at the top there are like a multi-color slot, so you can put in anything you want, but that is what we have chosen for this. And we are running chill attack to boost the innate chill of the weapon, because as you can see at the top roll there, it actually has its own innate chill, 5119, so just boosting that by quite a bit. As well, we do have the chill on the bottom part of the weapon, so just adding a whole bunch of chill to the weapon. And then we have firearm crit damage, and lastly we have rounds per magazine. We did get lucky and we maxed that one out. However, I wouldn't say don't waste too much materials on actually trying to max all of these out, because pretty soon within the next few weeks we'll be getting the next level of the weapon cores and stuff. I think they go up to level 30, while the Void Erosion will go up to level 30, and the weapon cores will go up to level 10, I believe. So don't waste too many materials trying to min-max these. Just get some decent rolls like purple if you can. However, you don't have to go that crazy for them. Now let's actually have a look at the mods. We're running double magazine mod, concentrate support, and expand weapon charge. This puts us at, I think, 192 rounds. So that's really good because then we can get the full use out of mental focus. Mental focus, you have to get to 150 stack. Well, you don't have to, but it does stack up to 150. So if you can get up to 150 stacks at least, you're getting a massive amount of firearm attack. And then obviously with us having 192 bullets, we do have like 42 more bullets. So this will be at the max stacks. And then we'll still, those last 40 bullets are going to have the max stack mental focus. So that's going to be hitting really, really hard on the end there. And we also do have quite a bit of crit with the better insight to give us the firearm crit rate, cap us out, better concentration, and concentration priority. You could actually play around maybe dropping better insight. If we are running Hailey, we might actually meet the crit before then, but that is actually quite a big chunk of crit that we do get added. So you could play around with that. If there's any mod, yeah, you'd probably play around with that one. Would be the most, up for grabs one, I would say you can go ahead and play around with. Concentration priority, this one, you want this one. It's a massive amount of crit damage. I always say how good the general rounds one is, but yeah, the general rounds one is just crazy. 120% firearm crit damage, so you can't go without that. Then we have fire rate just to make everything that much smoother, and as we all know, fire rate is really busted. It helps you build up mental focus faster, and the gun doesn't actually fire that fast by itself. We also do have mental focus giving us the negative 10% fire rate, but on the weapon core we have another 10% fire rate or something more. So all in all, we're kind of like, the mental focus is wiped out the negative, and we're just getting the firearm attack boost there. That's why it feels so good. And then we have our two firearm attack mods, the rifle reinforcements, as well as action and reaction. And then lastly, we have our elemental slot. Now what I've been recently doing is I add a format. I haven't done it on this weapon yet, but I'm going to add all the different slots to this weapon to actually go ahead and change to all the different elements. There's chill, there's toxic, and there's fire. So essentially you would want to get yourself a C, an R, a diamond, and an X on one slot, and you can change between all the different elements. And that way you can switch and take this gun pretty much versus any single enemy. We have taken us through a bunch of the void erosions, and you just drop out the element. Obviously I've had to put in like a lower level element because we don't have the slot maxed out yet, but it does add quite a bit of damage, and you always want to make sure you are matching the element to the enemy's weakness, because it does add a ton of damage, especially now with the weapon cores giving us so much firearm attack. As you can see here, firearm attack with just that one attribute mod on, we're getting 10,000 electrical attacks. So that's quite a bit of electrical, like extra attribute damage we're getting. And we also have chill attack. This is from the innate. So when we actually put on the chill one there, we're going to be getting like 23,000 or more chill attacks. So it does add up to quite crazy amounts. As you can see with our perforator, have a look at this. We got almost 170,000 firearm attack. And then the electric mods are putting us at 50,000 attribute on that, as well as our water has almost double the amount of firearm attack as what we do, on electric. So getting the right attribute is actually really, really strong with weapon cores, so don't sleep on that. You could even potentially go like full attribute on this and just roll all three slots at the top on the weapon cores chill attack, although I think that is a little bit crazy overdoing it. Maybe if we get some like really tough fire boss later on, we can do that and just see if we can actually like one phase it or something like that. But those are the weapon core rolls, those are the mods, and then we are using Hailey obviously as our platform for this because she is the best gun Descendant in my opinion right now. This is a build we're running on her. I have showcased this on the channel before, so there is a video up for this if you want to go check this out in detail, but there's a quick little look at the mods if you guys want to screenshot it. Mainly just using the cryogenic cluster over there for massive explosions, and those all work with the ricochets, so there's explosions all over the place. And then we also are using her for the cold fury there to buff and give us, all that crit chance, and everything else is just really building her tanky. You see we've got 2 HP mods on her, so she's extremely tanky. And we are running the Polar Night set because it's going to give you that frostbite when you use your one ability. It's giving you more crit damage and everything, so it just adds up. And they also get like an AoE explosion of max HP of the enemies onto the other enemies, so it just adds to her AoE, making her a really solid like gunning AoE Descendant, and she pretty much turns every weapon into an AoE weapon because of the setup. So I really like using her with this. And then lastly, before I leave you guys, I want to emphasize on the inversion reinforcements. This tree right here, the attribute tree, is really important to massive amounts of damage because of this passive here, enhanced focus rounds, where it's going to give you an attribute resistance negative stacking up to 5 times on any enemies you shoot. You need to shoot them 5 times with one of these buff active. Doesn't matter which one is active, as long as you have one of them active, hitting an enemy 5 times is going to give you this passive buff, which is really strong. But then if you want to take it even further, actually use the correct, like weakness. For example, we're using the electric focus rounds. because we are versing like the Void Erosion level 20, which are all weak to electric. And then it's going to give you even more electrical attack. You can see there adds electrical attack equal to 4.8% of your firearm attack, up to 5 stacks. So you're going to be getting this bonus as well as the bonus over there, reducing all the attribute resistance. So all of your attributes are going to be doing more damage. And on the Albion Cavalry, that's going to be our electric as well as the chill. So it's very important to max this tree out over everything if you are using like a gunning build or like a gunning descent or whatever. So this does add a lot of power to gun builds. Make sure you are picking this up for the passive and then also, you know, matching the correct element. But I think that's going to be it for the video. If you guys have any questions, ask them down below in the comments or come join that Discord server as well. Pretty active and we're slowly building up the community there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you liked it, please drop a like and sub the channel. Helps me out so much, and I'll catch you beautiful people in the next video, as well as the live streams. Augiesaint out.
Run free and dive into the sky. Hear the wind crying.